The binder on the coffee table said to lock the bathroom mirror at night. I thought it was a joke. I did not lock it. A red tab stuck out of the welcome binder like a tongue. House rules, page 3. No outside fires when the wind is above 15. Keep the bear bar latched even if you do not see bears. After 10:30 at night, latch the bathroom mirror from the inside and leave the light on low. If you hear soft tapping behind the glass, do not answer. If the latch is loose in the morning, tighten the lower screw only. Questions, text Mara. I was 4 hours from anyone who would come if I shouted, and I liked that. It was the shoulder season at Cold Lake, past the last boat and before the first snow. The cabin had 2 rooms, a propane heater that ticked when it woke, a bathroom with pine cleaner in its grout, and a medicine cabinet mirror with a tiny brass slide on its edge. My phone sat at one bar, and the bar blinked like it might change its mind. The porch faced the dark water. The neighbors' places were blind and closed. When I shut the door, the quiet had its own weight. Mara's texts had been bright with emojis when I booked. Key in the lockbox, code 2174. If the power blips, the generator takes a minute. Bears are lazy this fall, but raccoons have conquered door handles. And please lock the bathroom mirror after dark. Smiley face. I sent the critical thumbs up and put it out of my head as if that mattered. The mirror did not look like a thing that could hold a rule. It was normal, beveled, the kind of old glass that makes you warmer looking than you are. I touched the brass slide with one nail. It moved with a polite resistance and clicked into a little notch. It was the kind of latch you give to someone who wants to believe they have done what was asked. I cooked pasta and made the mistake of setting the fork down to listen. The cabin was all small sounds stacked up. The clock over the sink ticked a thin second. The heater's metal cooled with little plinks. The lake breathed against its shore like a person trying not to cry. My own chewing was loud enough to be embarrassing. I showered too hot because there was nothing else to do but get clean and get tired. Steam rose and turned the bathroom mirror blind. When I wiped a line with a towel, I caught a shape behind me that was only the doorway and still made my stomach step. My face in that clear stripe lagged a fraction, like when a live feed stutters. I blamed the bead of water still on the glass, the swish of steam moving. The stripe fogged again as if it was being breathed on from the other side. The latch was in the open position when I finished brushing my teeth. I could not remember unsetting it. I told myself I had flicked it absent-mindedly when I reached for the floss. I set it again just because it cost nothing. It slid into its notch like a quiet promise. I read a murder book I did not like on a couch that had seen 7 summers. At 11:14 the heater shuddered and the porch light dipped and the generator under the deck made itself known in a low steady hum. The phone buzzed at my elbow with a line of reception that went from 1 to none and back. Mara texted, "Everything okay?" I sent back, "Fine, your place is perfect. Love the view." She sent a heart and a bear and then, after a little pause, "Remember the mirror for me, thanks." I sent the thumbs again. I did not get up. At 12:07 I turned off the lamp and let, for the first time in 2 months, full dark happen without a screen. The dark in the cabin did not have edges. Came right to me like a person. The heater ticked itself quieter. The generator's tone sank a note and then rose back, like a singer holding on. I woke because the cabin did that thing old houses do where every board agrees. A single little sound, softer than a coin on a table. Then another, a measured second off. Top, top. The kind of sound you hear through a wall and want to call pipes. The kind of sound you convince yourself has nothing to do with breathing. I told myself it was the tin roof cooling. I told myself it was tiny feet in the rafters. I lay there in every position that says I do not care about noises. The sound came again. It had moved. It was not in the rafters. It was a little closer to my head. It was not my head. I turned on the couch lamp and met all the ordinary with my eyes, hard. The sink clock said 12:19 and the second hand had that small heartbeat you only notice when afraid. The bathroom door stood open the way I had left it. The mirror showed my lamp behind me, my right shoulder, the dull gold of pine cleaner in the grout line. The brass slide sat back where I had put it, but the notch did not hold. The slide rested on the edge of the notch as if something patient in there had pressed on it until it was almost free. I wanted to lock it and go back to sleep and be the person who does the small smart thing. I touched the slide and it was warmer than the room. Clicked back into its notch. The tap happened again, from behind the glass now. Soft, polite even. A knuckle you love because you know it. I waited there. The taps repeated with the patience of someone who knew I would run out of pretending.
Top.
A breath where a second should be.
Top.
The heater gave up another tiny plink and listened with me. I could smell the pine cleaner that lived in the grout and, under it, a cool metal smell like a penny pressed to a tooth. On the glass, where my wiped stripe had been, a perfect circle bloomed from the inside, the kind your breath makes in winter. I didn't put my mouth there. I lifted 2 fingers and felt the mirror's face cold around the circle and warm at its center. The brass slide nudged in its notch as if a thumb on the other side tested it. The bottom screw had a whisper of play when I touched it with my nail. The binder's rule marched through my head in Mara's cheerful punctuation. Tighten the lower screw only. I went to the kitchen drawer and found a coin and turned it 1 quarter and then another. As metal met metal, the taps matched my turns, 3 quick, then still. My phone vibrated on the counter. Light up. No bars, still insisting. A new text from a name above the last one. Mara. If it taps, don't speak, the bubble read. Step back 3 paces. Keep the bathroom light on low. If the latch drifts, do not tighten the top screw. The timestamp was 12:19 and also 12:07. A pair of truths my screen couldn't hold together. I did as told. 3 paces back, put my shoulders against the cool door jamb. The circle on the mirror thinned and widened like listening. A fingertip drew a short line on its inner skin, then another, and the letters built backward until my brain flipped them for me in the reflection of the faucet. Stay still, it wrote. The S smudged like a left hand had dragged. My face above the words did the thing it had been doing all evening. A blink a fraction late, the mouth a breath behind. In the bevel, my shirts seemed swapped sides and then acted ashamed of it. I can't help you, I said, before remembering the rule, and my voice felt like a knife I had dropped at my own feet. The fog circle pulsed once as if in surprise. Then, very soft, in the distance inside the glass and down a long hall that did not exist in my cabin. Someone used my name the way my mother does when she is trying not to wake anyone else. I covered my mouth with my hand and tasted skin and copper and old mint. I set the light to low. The little plastic dimmer clicked into a place that sounded like a promise. The tapping stopped. I could hear the generator under the deck breathe and a tiny spider work the corner over the towel rail. I eased the mirror door a hair to check the latch. It gave too easily, then stuck at a place it had not had before, a second catch inside the wood. I slid my fingers along the inner edge and touched another little brass tongue set further back. The inside latch I had decided the rule didn't mean. The brass was warm, not room warm. When I reached for it, something else's fingertip met mine and withdrew like a polite person in a crowded kitchen. The mint smell came stronger for 1 second. I pushed the inner latch down. Clicked like teeth. The breath on the glass released. The phone on the counter rang without bars. I did not know it could, but it did. A clipped digital tone that sounded embarrassed to be here. Caller ID said unknown and then, under it, fiercely, Mara. I put the speaker on because the rule about mouths seemed larger than just mirrors. Latch from the inside first, my voice said from my phone, bright and wrong in the way of recordings. Then answer. I looked at my hand on the edge of the mirror, smudged with a grayness from the insulation in the gap. I said without saying, it's latched. The call clicked and fell into the quiet like a stone into silt. I left the light on low like the page wanted and backed out of the bathroom without turning around. At the couch I sat and listened to the cabin put me back in place. The sink clock's second hand made its shy hop. The generator kept the note you keep when you're holding it for someone else. My phone buzzed once with the weather alert it sends when the lake fog comes in. Visibility reduced. The porch went a darker dark. I didn't sleep. Sleep just happened to me. Morning came sarcastically bright. All blue water and polite long shadows, as if the cabin hadn't tried to teach me a language at midnight. Coffee tasted like a reward more than a drink. In the bathroom, the mirror still wore the ring stain in the glass the way cold will, except it hadn't been cold in here. The latch sat in its notch. The lower screw had a shaved edge now, the coin having bitten it one too many times. The top screw had a scratch on it that I had not put there. The red tab in the binder showed at the coffee table as if it had grown while I slept. House rules, page 3, same rules, new line. If the latch is warm, wait. If the writing says stay still, do not. The handwriting was Mara's and mine in turns, block letters that wavered at different points like two people taking the pen from each other while laughing at a joke nobody else could hear. A tiny darker oval marked the margin where a wet thumb had rested. When I set my own thumb there, it fit too closely and the paper felt warmer than paper should.